Hey all, it's Daniel, and today I'm going to show you how to use timbres on the microKORG, specifically how to make bass lines and lead lines in the same patch, and how to solo them and how to make them. I'm going to use some kind of sounds and samples from Purity Ring, so let's go check this out. But before I do, I'm going to cruise through this. I know some of my beginning fans have asked me to slow down a little bit. I'm going to actually make like little links to each actual time where I'm doing things. You can skip ahead if this is too nerdy and you just kind of want to hear how this is. I'll be doing some more beginner style tutorials, but I think this is going to unlock some really seriously cool things with the microKORG, so let's cruise through these settings and get to the sounds. Thanks. Alright, so what I'm going to show you really quick is I have this synth set up for timbres. You can do this in a couple of ways, but I'm actually going to cruise through the settings. But before we do, let's check them out. So timbre 1, I'm actually going to solo it. So you can hit Shift and your timbre select, and it'll start flashing. So it's only going to play part 1 of this patch that I have saved. So if I'm playing the bass for something like Purity Rings, Begin Again, that bass line is pretty much really just simple. It's and they might even go up to these two. It's really low, and I'm hoping that camera can pick it up. So let's just keep moving on. If I switch over to the other side, which is 2, timbre 2, I'm going to find that I can get more of a lead line out of that. So something like the initial sound that you hear in that song, which is and if you just push the button again, you'll find that you're actually playing both. So I can actually get the bass sound with that lead, and that kind of sounds like this. Which is a pretty cool effect, because what you can essentially do is you could start a song with bass, kick in your lead sound with it, and kind of keep playing. You could switch to a solo lead, and then you can actually switch back down to a bass if you want to end a song, for example. So I'm going to take a breath here, and let's get into what it takes to set this up. I'm going to actually start on this side for the first timbre. How I typically set this up is I usually have 1 being my bass and 2 being my lead. It helps me kind of separate that in my head, and you can actually see that my octave shift is actually down 1, so that I actually can do some things. You get limited on this very fast because you're essentially taking 2 of the voices and putting them, I believe, in the first timbre, and then 2 of the voices going to the other timbre. So voice, what it takes to originally set this up is synth, layer, poly, and then nothing. And for my bass side, and as you shift, you can actually shift on these and it'll change which side you're on to edit, which is pretty cool. But let's stay on our bass. So voice I just showed you. If I go to pitch, I have -4, -2, 0, 2, and the last one is 0. Oscillator 1 is saw. Let's do 0. I believe that is a 0 as well. Nothing. And then oscillator 2, saw, off, 0, and -12. Mixer, 127, 110, 0, nothing else. Filter, 12, 15, 30, 0, and 0. Filter EG, 0, 64, 127, 0, on. Amp, 127, CNT, off, 0, and nothing. Amp EG, 31, 64, 127, 65, and on. And I don't believe I'm messing with the LFOs. I hope that's right. I hope that gets you close. I don't believe I have any patching or any effects or anything, but let's go check it out real quick. Don't think I have anything specifically set. Yeah, nothing specifically set. So patch, yeah, some LFO stuff on this, but it looks like the value is 0, so there's nothing. Let's check mod, flanger 20, 0. I'm kind of thinking that's not doing anything. String on 1/8, 70. So there actually might be a little bit of delay. You might want to add that. And then I don't think I messed with the EQ at all. 320, 0, and maybe I did. 6, 0. All right. So I don't have arpeggiation, to my knowledge, set up on this. So that's all the bass line really should be. So let's go check that out. Should sound the same. Yep, same there. So if we hit Shift 2, we can start going through those. Voice, again, this is all going to be the same at this first one. Synth, layer, poly. Pitch, 24, 0, 0, 2, and 2. Oscillator 1 is going to be a digital wave. I really like those. And we are going to use 13 for my secret purity ring sounds. Saw for the second oscillator with a ring mod at 3, 6, and I'm thinking that's a 6 as well. Nope, nothing at the end. Mixer, 63, 14, 0. Filter, 12, 53, 8, 0. Filter EG, 0, 64, 127, 62, and on. Amp, let's do 127. CNT, off, 0, 0, 64, 127, 62, on. And let's go check out that mod effects, flanger. Kind of thinking I don't have anything going on. 20, 0, yeah, pretty boring there. Delay, string, on, 1/8, 70, and then EQ, 320, 0, and 6. So I don't know that I have much going on for those, but those should essentially be the settings, which I'm pretty excited to show you, because right now I can just play some of these bass lines. So I'll admit that these settings really kind of max out what the synth can do. It's really hard being able to switch these pitches, so if I am actually playing both, if I start pitching up on the octave, it doesn't sound quite right. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I think it has to kind of stay around this octave zone. You can arpeggiate it, but again, it's just not going to sound super great. So you gotta kind of pick what you want out of this. What is super cool though, so if I actually hit Shift 1, all of my hot knobs, I can actually take my cutoff and bring it all the way down before I start playing. And from there, as I'm playing, I actually do get to mess with these as I'm playing. And you'll find this is really useful if you're in this mode, because you actually, I don't know if I showed this, so you can shift, hit this to solo, but if you hit the button again, it just puts both on. If you hit this button, then you get to pick between whatever side you're actually playing with. So if I go to side 2, which is my lead sound, I can then take the cutoff and then mess with that with the bass that I have. So I might find a sound that I really like out of these two. Which is going to be pretty fun for playing live, especially as I can maybe do a solo or do a bass solo. But as you see, the sound I had was actually pretty darn good, so I'm going to go back to it. If anything, I would change the cutoff of the top one. the bass line, I have you can really play with the release. And I promise this sounds good. All I'm saying is this is a really fun way to use the microKORG, and I think you're really going to be excited to use this. Please let me know what you think of this, and if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe, like, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for checking in.